Welcome to the O'Neill Perspective, Politics, Power, and Policy, where we break down the latest in politics, dive deep into forces shaping our society, and uncover the policies that will make it all happen. Your host, Curtis O'Neill, is here to educate, enlighten, and entertain as we explore the world of politics with clarity and insight. Whether you're a political junkie or just trying to be informed, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
There are families across America who have seen the warning signs. They have seen the paranoia. They have seen the voices. They have seen the sleepless nights. They have seen the medication refusals. They have called the hospital, and they have even called the police, and they have begged for someone to listen. And too often, the system says there is nothing we can do unless they're a danger to themselves or others. But here's the painful question. Why do we have to wait until danger becomes damage? So welcome to the O'Neill Perspective, Power, Politics, and Policy, where we educate, enlighten, and challenge the conversation. Today is part one of a three-part series that I'm calling Before the Crime. And we're talking about serious mental illness such as schizophrenia, issues that families are facing, concerns to the public safety, and the reform that America is refusing to face around serious mental illness. So, I want you to know that I'm going to approach this issue from two places. Number one, professionally, because as many of you know that I have seen it as a correctional administrator and a healthcare leader. I have watched individuals enter into correctional systems in a state of severe mental deterioration. Some were paranoid, some were delusional, some were hearing voices. Some had gone untreated for months, and yes, even some had gone untreated for years. And then once they entered into prison, the system suddenly had structure. There was mental health classification provided, medication review completed, psychiatric monitoring done, forced medication orders were completed when legally justified, treatment plans have been created, clinical rounds have been done by quality mental health professionals. And then, of course, security coordination. But the question is this: why did it take a crime for treatment to become serious? And personally, I have seen the pain of serious mental illness even in my own family. You know, there are members of my family who have dealt with this unfortunate disease. So I understand the emotional weight. I understand what families feel when someone they love is sick, but refuses the help. I understand the fear, the frustration, the guilt, and even the helplessness. So this is not an academic issue for me. This is a professional one. This is a personal one. And this issue is very much urgent. So one of the things I want to do is spend some time and break down the issue plainly. As we all know, schizophrenia is not simply someone acting strange, which it was that simple. In fact, it is a serious brain disorder that can affect how a person thinks, how they feel, how they interpret reality, and interact with others. You see, the World Health Organization estimates that schizophrenia affects about 23 million people worldwide, or roughly 1 in 345 people here. And it is frequently associated with major impairment in personal, family, social, educational, and occupational life. So in the United States, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, better known as NAMI, reports that in 2024, 23.4% of adults in the United States experience mental illness. Now, that represents about 61.5 million people. And of that, 5.6% experience serious mental illness, which represents somewhere around 14.6 million people. So I want to be very clear that a diagnosis does not make someone dangerous. Okay? But untreated psychosis can become dangerous when warning signs, of course, are ignored. And that is why the National Institute of Mental Health says that the risk of self-harm or violence to others is most significant when schizophrenia is untreated or occurs with alcohol or substance misuse. You see, that in itself is the policy gap. Families may see the illness, doctors may see the illness, police may see the illness, but unless the legal standard is met, nothing meaningful happens. And by the time that the standard is met, someone may already be hurt. Now, here's a headline story that some of us may be familiar with, and take this into consideration. I think it was the Louisiana case involving a man accused in the stabbing deaths. Oh boy, this is terrible. The stabbing deaths of his 1-year-old son, Hayden Madison, his sister, Rhonda Powell, and his nephew, Braylon Powell. Now, the Associated Press had reported that family members said that relatives took him to the hospital the day before the killings because he had started hearing voices. But they said that the hospital refused inpatient psychiatric commitment despite their concerns. And that is the heartbreak. You see, the family saw something, the family tried something, and the family had even asked for help, and then tragedy followed. See, we must be careful that every criminal case must go through the courts. Every accused person is entitled, of course, as we know, to due process. But from a public policy standpoint, these stories force us to ask, what should happen when families can document the deterioration before a violent act occurs? And so the political, social context is that this is where the political conversation, I think, usually breaks down. You see, on one side, they say protect civil liberties. All for that. And like I said, they're right. The protection of civil liberties is important. And government should not be able to take away freedom casually. History, of course, as we know, is full of examples where institutions had abused their power, they mistreated people, they over-medicated people, they stripped people of their dignity. Right? We know that. But on the other side of the coin of the political conversation, it says protect the public. And I agree with that too, 100%, especially as a correctional administrator. Public safety is paramount. And a mother should not have to wait until her son hurts someone before the system takes her seriously. A family should not have to wait for someone to deteriorate while being told he has a right to refuse treatment. A community should not have to absorb preventable tragedy because every agency passed the responsibility to someone else. You see, this is not a left-wing issue. This is not a right-wing issue. This is what I think is a leadership issue. And so my moderate, responsible position is this. We need to protect rights. We need to require due process. We need to respect human dignity. But we need to intervene earlier when the pattern is clear. So, my perspective is that a society is not compassionate because it lets people unravel in the public. That a society is not compassionate when it builds systems strong enough to catch people before they fall into homelessness, violence, jail, prison, or even in death. We need family-driven reporting pathways. We need crisis stabilization beds. We need medication continuity of care. We need courts that understand serious mental illness. And we need laws that allow intervention before tragedy, not only after it. And we need lawmakers and the medical community to stop hiding behind all of this foolish bureaucracy. Because when families say something is wrong, the system should not wait for a headline to prove them right. That's my take on this particular issue. And that is my perspective. So with that being said, as I close, and we'll come back to our second issue, our second episode around this, I want to encourage you all to please visit the O'Neill Perspective to join the conversation. And you can visit it via web at www.theo'neillperspective.com to join the conversation, to share your perspective, or connect with the show. And I also want to encourage you to go ahead and get your copy of Breaking the Chains that's on Amazon. And as always, I want you to do not just hear the conversation, but I want you to deepen the conversation and go out and get your copy of Breaking the Chains on Amazon today. Thank you. Until next time, stay informed, stay sharp, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye now.
That's all for today's episode of The O'Neill Perspective, Politics, Power, and Policy. I hope you learned something new, got inspired, and maybe had a little fun along the way. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and join us next time for more thought-provoking conversations. Until then, stay informed and stay empowered.